Do you know the biggest lie people tell themselves is, if I just made more money, all my problems would go away? Like and subscribe for more self-improvement videos, self-discipline and money. Your financial future is in your hands. I've learned over the years that money, like many aspects of life, is governed by principles, and those principles are always subject to self-discipline. If you want financial freedom, you must take full responsibility for your financial condition. Your income, your spending habits, your savings, or lack thereof, are all outcomes of your choices, not your circumstances. The biggest lie people tell themselves is, if I just made more money, all my problems would go away. But I've met many people who earn six-figure salaries, yet live paycheck to paycheck. I've also met janitors and teachers who retire comfortably. The difference isn't income, it's discipline. 1. Live below your means. The foundation of financial self-discipline is the practice of living on less than you earn. This idea might sound basic, even obvious, but it's one of the hardest habits for most people to develop. When I first started earning a stable income, I noticed the immediate urge to buy more, do more, and upgrade my lifestyle. That urge is natural, but it's dangerous. Because once you raise your standard of living, it's hard to go back. So I made a rule. No matter how much I earn, I must always spend less than I make and save the rest. Living below your means saying no more often than yes. It means resisting the pressure to compete with friends, neighbors, or trends. But what you gain in return, peace of mind, options, and the beginning of wealth, is worth every sacrifice. 2. Think long-term, not short-term. I've discovered that one of the core differences between financially successful people and those who struggle is their time horizon. Poor people think only about the next few days or weeks. Middle-class people think about the next few months or years. Wealthy people think in terms of decades and generations. Every financial decision is a reflection of how far ahead you're willing to plan. The longer your horizon, the more patient and disciplined your actions become. Instead of focusing on the temporary thrill of a purchase, I began asking, what's the long-term impact of this decision? Would I rather have this new car, or would I rather have financial independence in 15 years? The answer became obvious. Discipline means being willing to delay gratification. It means trading short-term pleasure for long-term freedom. And the earlier you start, the easier the journey becomes. 3. Pay yourself first. One of the simplest and most powerful rules I ever applied to my finances was this: always pay yourself first. That means before you pay rent, buy groceries, or pay bills, take a portion of your income, 10%, 15%, or even 20%, and put it aside into savings or investments. Think of it as your reward for working. Most people do the opposite. They spend everything they earn and save only what's left. But what's left? Usually nothing. When I made this mental shift, my entire financial situation changed. I no longer waited to see what I could save. I saved by default. I made it automatic. I treated it like a fixed expense, just like taxes or rent. And over time, that money began to grow. By paying yourself first, you send yourself a powerful message. My future is important. I deserve to build wealth. 4. Eliminate and avoid debt. If there's one enemy of financial freedom that I learned to avoid, it's consumer debt. Debt creates a psychological burden that drains energy and limits your freedom. It forces you to work for your past rather than your future. And worst of all, it grows, even when you don't. I learned this lesson the hard way when I carried credit card balances in my early years. I told myself I'd pay it off next month, but next month never came. Interest kept piling up. Eventually, I realized that every time I used debt to finance my lifestyle, I was robbing my future self. There's good debt and bad debt. Good debt is used to acquire appreciating assets, a business, real estate, or education. Bad debt is used for consumption, things that depreciate in value the moment you buy them. My rule became simple. If I can't pay cash for it, I can't afford it. And if I must borrow, it must serve a clear wealth-building purpose. 5. Build your financial knowledge. One of the most important discoveries I made was that financial success is a learnable skill. It's not something you're born with or stumble into. It's something you build through education and application. I made it a habit to study money. I read books on personal finance, investing, real estate, and economics. I listened to experts. I asked questions. The more I learned, the more I earned. Financial literacy protects you from scams, equips you to make better decisions, and gives you the confidence to manage your wealth. Most importantly, it helps you avoid costly mistakes. If you want to improve your finances, start with education. Read 30 minutes a day on money. Listen to podcasts or audiobooks, subscribe to this channel, and learn daily self-improvement. 6. Set specific financial goals. Goals give your discipline a direction. Without them, even the best intentions fall apart. I started by setting clear, written financial goals. Not vague dreams like, I want to be rich, but specific targets with deadlines. Save $3,000 in an emergency fund within 1 year. Pay off my student loan by December 2026. Invest $200 monthly into a mutual fund. Once I set the goal, I worked backward to determine what actions I needed to take weekly or monthly. Then, I reviewed my progress regularly. There's something powerful about writing down your goals. It clarifies your vision, it fuels your discipline, and it creates accountability. 7. Automate your success. Discipline becomes easier when you remove decision-making from the equation. I began automating my financial behaviors. I set up automatic transfers to my savings and investment accounts. I used budgeting apps to track spending. I kept my investment strategy simple and consistent. By automating my actions, I reduced the temptation to spend impulsively. I didn't have to rely on willpower. I relied on systems. Automation is discipline on autopilot. It ensures your behavior aligns with your goals, even when you're tired, distracted, or stressed. 8. Control impulse spending. Impulse spending is one of the biggest threats to financial progress. Advertisers and influencers bombard us with messages urging us to buy now, treat ourselves, and worry later. To combat this, I created cooling-off rules. If I wanted to buy something unplanned, I forced myself to wait 24 to 48 hours. Often, the urge would pass, and I realized I didn't really need it. I also developed spending priorities. I categorized expenses into 3 groups: needs, essential for survival; wants, nice to have; luxuries, status or indulgence. By focusing on needs, limiting wants, and avoiding luxuries, I freed up more money to invest in my future. 9. Invest for the long term. Saving money is good, but investing is how you build wealth. Once I had a solid emergency fund and had paid off bad debt, I turned my attention to investing. I started with what I understood: mutual funds, index funds, and simple retirement accounts. Over time, I expanded into real estate and business ventures. The key is consistency, not brilliance. You don't need to time the market or chase trends. Just invest regularly in proven vehicles and let compound interest do the rest. Time is your greatest asset. The earlier you start, the easier the journey becomes. Even small amounts, invested consistently, can create significant wealth over 10 to 20 years. 10. Teach your family financial discipline. Money doesn't just affect individuals, it affects households. I made it a point to involve my spouse and children in financial discussions. We talked about goals, budgets, and values. I taught my kids the importance of saving, earning, and giving. By modeling discipline, I created a culture of responsibility. Financial education isn't just something you read, it's something you live and share. If you have children, give them opportunities to earn money and learn through experience. Let them make mistakes while the stakes are low. Teach them early, and they'll avoid costly lessons later. 11. Wealth is a tool, not a goal. For me, money is not about luxury, greed, or status. It's about freedom, security, and impact. When you manage your money well, you gain the freedom to live on your terms. You can retire earlier, pursue passions, support causes you care about, and leave a legacy. Financial discipline gives you options. It frees you from dependence on others. It allows you to make choices based on purpose, not desperation. My ultimate goal was never just to be rich, it was to be free, and every disciplined financial habit brought me one step closer to that freedom. 12. My 10 golden rules for financial discipline. My only reaching first bead to lay gratification. Use your financial goals with your family. Discipline is the path to wealth. Self-discipline is the great equalizer. You don't need to be born into wealth, have a high-paying job, or possess special talents. If you're disciplined with money, you can create the life you want, step by step. Remember, it's not about how much you make, but how much you keep, grow, and manage. The journey may not always be easy, but it's always worth it. When you master your money, you master your future. And it all begins with one decision: to live with discipline, purpose, and a long-term vision. Like and subscribe for more self-improvement videos.